What is up, everybody? I am sitting in the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta SEL. This is the new facelifted version that has just some little nice updates. However, it does have a carryover powertrain. So this is the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that produces 158 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. In the Jetta, you only get an automatic transmission. It's an 8-speed auto with a real gear selector here, and it works relatively well. I will be doing a separate review for the GLI, which is where you can get the manual, and it has, the 2-liter turbocharged engine with 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. But this is just the standard Jetta SEL. Something just hit my windshield, but let's get going and see what we think. All clear, beautiful, hot morning out here on Angeles Crest Highway. The Jetta 1.5 liter is, competes with something like Civic, Corolla. It's an entry-level subcompact sedan. This one has the torsion beam rear suspension, where the GLI has independent rear suspension. The torsion beam is doing fine, I will say. However, I'm getting a lot of booming from the suspension over road imperfections, cracks, and little things. I just get a weird resonance in my ears with it. It's a very low sound, but it's kind of booming, and it definitely hurts my ears a little bit. It feels like it's coming from the rear. I open the trunk, and the trunk is virtually a giant chasm. It's huge, but it has hardly any insulation in it. There's a real spare back there, which is nice, but yeah, it's just going over bumps. I hear some weird booming coming from the rear, and it bothers my eardrums. On the road, I didn't notice it as bad. For the 2025 model year, the facelift changes, obviously, the front and rear design of the vehicle. It also adds a few nice things on the interior. A slightly redesigned portion here that has integrated air vents that kind of continue into the dashboard, and you get a bigger standard screen. The 8-inch touchscreen is now standard. There's the new VW steering wheel, which still has real buttons, blessed up, not the touch capacitive buttons on the Golf models. However, you do get touch capacitive buttons for your climate control down here. It's a dedicated screen down very low in the center console here, right ahead of the shifter, and it has dedicated sliders for driver and passenger temperature control and the fan speed of the vehicle. So, it's gotten a lot of hate. I must say this one is backlit to some extent. You can at least see where your little bar is telling you where fan speed you're at, and you can also see the red and blue portions that show you where you're going, whether hot or cold. So I found it to be relatively fine. You can tap on the fan speed and it increases, or slide it. Tapping gives you a little bit more accuracy, but sliding's good if you need it to just be on high. If it's hot like it is out here, it's in the 90s, 95 degrees. I love this digital cockpit. It's really nice on this Jetta. It's relatively configurable. Some weird choices with it though, for things that you can add, it's weird, but just the standard view is nice with the two circular dials with the speedometer on the right and tach on the left. You can also have your map showing in the center, or increase the size of your map so it takes up most of the screen in front of you here. Like I said, I really enjoy it. The touchscreen here in the middle is fine. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, wired and wireless, of course, as standard, which is a treat. Works great. I must say the interior is very spacious. That's something that hasn't really changed. The Jetta's always been this generation of Jetta has always been a pretty big vehicle inside, and there's a good room up front, especially. If I put my seat all the way back, there's not much room behind me, but you can still fit a human. But if the front seat passengers are a little bit more generous or average sized, then I'm sure you'll have ample room in the back seat. The trunk is massive, and one of the biggest benefits to this is you get these updates, and the price of the base model, at least, actually decreases versus the 2024 model. Base price of this car now, an S trim.
Straight ahead in a quarter of a mile and continue to follow Angeles Crest Highway.
that should be turned off. How do I do that? Now you get to see me struggle with this. I figured out how to mute it. So that is to say that the infotainment isn't necessarily the most usable thing on the face of the earth, but it's fine. And once you're familiar with the, you know, the Volkswagen ecosystem with the user interface, then you'll be golden. But yeah, it's been a solid vehicle. This is a first drive impression. I'm not living with this. I will be living with the GLI for a week, so I can give you that information. But this is just a first drive impression, and as I'm getting onto the freeway here, I am going to use the standard IQ drive on all Jettas, which, as I said, the base price has been lowered, so it's a pretty screaming deal, I must say. To use this IQ drive, which is basically like a self-driving level 2 autonomous system that does lane centering and everything for you. It also has collision avoidance systems integrated, but it's a pretty nice system given what it offers and at the price. So like I said, the base price has been lowered. So now Jetta start at $21,995 before destination, which is down a little bit over 2024. Other trim levels have increased slightly, but no trim level has increased price over $200, which is super rare right now. Inflation's ridiculous, and everybody's charging more and more money for their cars every year without even offering many changes. So this is a great deal. The Jetta still offers a value proposition, and it feels very solid. The structure feels super solid. It feels like a quality vehicle. This is a new color. They did release 2 new colors. This car is Monterey Blue Pearl, and as tested, this runs just over 30 grand, including destination at 30,225. So, I mean, these days, I don't always imagine $30,000 to be like a particularly affordable vehicle, but unfortunately it is nowadays. Power-wise, this 1.5 liter turbocharged engine is not going to blow the doors off of anyone, but it gets out of its own way. It's reasonable. If you put it in sport mode, it plays pretty well. The steering is dead as a doornail, but it steers the car well. The car is surprisingly agile, and it almost has a tendency to oversteer. I haven't turned off ESC, but I've noticed a tendency for the back end to feel a little willing to rotate, which I mean makes it kind of fun, but it's not a precise vehicle. You kind of got to huck it around to get some reactions out of it, but it's competent and it's capable and it's enjoyable, and most importantly on the day-to-day commute, it's really nice. You get the features like the standard automatic cruise control and active safety features. You get the 1.5 liter engine, which is great, and yeah, Jetta's just like a solid car. It's been around for a long time, but it's still roomy and serves a great purpose, I think.